Hello and welcome to the Dark Mount video review for Transformers 4 Age of Extinction Generation Scorn. Now Scorn is one of the first Dinobots we've gotten, other than Grimlock. He is the Spinosaurus, and like all of the other Dinobots, he is not in movie accurate colors. From all of the previews and stuff that we've seen, it looks like all of the Dinobots are going to be primarily like silver and dark colors and stuff like that, like a lot of metal colors, whereas the toys are all these kind of like Skittles-esque Power Rangers colors. I'm guessing this is for to-sell toys. They're probably not thinking that if they had like 7 or 8, however many Dinobots they've announced at this point, I feel like it keeps getting more and more every week. If they had that many like plain gray, silver toys on shelves at the same time, I don't think they'd end up selling very well. So these are probably to add a little variance on the shelf, and to be perfectly honest, I don't really mind it. I think they'll look better on my shelf if they have different colors and they're not all just a bunch of bland gray bots. Grand Blay bots. Grand Blay bots! So he's definitely a pretty cool dinosaur here. People have been having some difficulty getting him to stand. I'm not having that problem, so I don't know if I'm doing something differently, or he stands pretty well for me. I mean, if you try to like lean him upwards like he's roaring or something, I mean, he's not going to stand because his tail's gigantic, but I don't know. For size comparison, here he is with Evasion Mode Optimus Prime. So he's a pretty big deluxe, or at least in his alt mode. In his alt mode, Articulation, he has a little bit of neck movement, but it's mostly for his bot mode, since it kind of breaks up the neck bits here if you try to move it too much. These arms are on ball joints, so you get a decent amount of movement out of those. These are also on ball joints, but due to the way that they transform, they're kind of on an angle, so you don't get a great amount of movement out of them. You have some swivel here, and that's about it. I mean, you can kind of start straightening the leg out, but that's all transformation joint stuff. You have some tail articulation, because it's rubber. You can unhook the tail and move it in all kinds of directions. And you can unhook all kinds of stuff and have it move in different directions, but you're not supposed to. And the tail stores the sword. Surprise! My bird apparently wants to join the review. One moment. Alrighty, so to transform Scorn, first thing you're going to want to do is pull the sword out of his tail, and you can just kind of point the tail up and away and get it out of your way. And you can flip down these two little side bits right here, which will allow you to rotate this whole pelvic region kind of down and around like that. And you can straighten the legs out. And fold the middle toe back and around to form the foot. And then these two spine sections will separate on either end and rotate, and then plug back into the two tab slots on his back. And then you want to pull this whole assembly that has the arms on it all the way down. And then you want to spin this whole section, and you'll see it does some automorphing there. Finish popping his head out. Fold this red part down until it kind of locks everything in there. Fold this part up until it clicks, which sometimes is strangely difficult. There we go. And then you can just kind of fold these arms up to the sides like that. Rotate this, and this becomes his little pole arm thing. And then over here, what you are supposed to do, according to the directions, is spin this entire section around like this, pull out the hand, and then fold open the mouth like this. You can also just keep that part closed, or put this that way. There's any number of things that you can do here. In the interest of the video review, I will keep it how the directions say to do it. And then you can grab his sword, pop that into his hand. And there you have Scorn in his robot mode. And I must say, he looks pretty awesome. He looks kind of gladiatorial, or like he's a lancing knight or something. I'm not entirely sure what he reminds me of. But you'll notice that the only downside is, since the hand flips out of the top of the head, if you keep the arm, mouth, whatever, open the way it says to, you do have a giant gaping hole in the forearm. So if that bothers you, you can close that arm up like that. Weirdly enough, it kind of doesn't bother me though. I kind of like it open. I don't know why he has two jaws on the sides of his legs when the head is clearly right here. I don't know what that's supposed to be. So I don't know if this isn't here in his CGI model or what. Or if they just thought that looked cool. Who knows? For a size comparison, here he is next to, oops, High Octane Bumblebee. Who is hardcore leaning backwards right now for some reason. And here he is next to Crosshairs. For articulation, his head is on a ball joint, although the sculpting kind of gets into the way, so you can't do all that much with it. His giant shoulder assemblies rotate. They have swivels inside of them, upper arm swivel, another elbow bend here. Same thing on this side. You get the elbow bend and the little bit of wrist motion from the transformation. And you also get a secondary weird thing here. There is no waist articulation. Well, there's transformation joint waist articulation, but you'd have to unhook stuff and it only goes one direction, so there's not. You have very tight ball joints in the hips, upper leg swivel, double jointed knee for transformation. So, all in all, I really like this figure. So far, the Dinobots in this line have been really, really interesting and just enjoyable. It's fun to kind of have a different aesthetic in the movieverse than just the standard vehicle modes that we've been dealing with. I realized that I forgot to do a size comparison with the other Dinobots, speaking of them, so I'm going to do that now. Here he is with Leader Grimlock and Voyager Grimlock. And Slug. So you can see how they are all shaping up right now. Except Grimlock's face is hidden. That's no fun. And I have the next wave of deluxes on the way, so I'll have the next two Dinobots to review for you guys probably soonish. I think they're supposed to be here by like Friday or Saturday. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, I think Scorn is a really good figure. He strikes a really interesting balance between kind of like a Prime-esque aesthetic and the movieverse world. And really, I think he might... I really like Slug. But I don't know how much of that is just because he's a purple dinosaur. Yeah, and he's not the only purple dinosaur transformer, believe it or not. But I'll go over that in his review. The only thing I will say about this guy that I would genuinely consider kind of a complaint is the rubber tail. I understand why they have to do this. I'm not ignorant to the fact that this is a kid's toy. I mean, come on. But this is pretty hard. I mean, this is solid, hard plastic. So why can this be solid, hard plastic and this can't be? I don't totally understand how these rules work. I gotta be perfectly honest. And sorry, I forgot to spread these little fin leg things out. My bad. But I don't really understand why this can't be hard plastic, because in the transformation you need to use this little peg right here to peg into something that you can't see. To peg into this... no. To peg into this hole right here. So the problem is that this is so rubbery and soft that it doesn't really peg in. So his Dino mode is secure, but it's not quite as secure as it could be, which is just kind of unfortunate. So yeah, I don't want to drone on too long because there's really not all that much to say about this guy other than the fact that he is really just an awesome figure. And if you are collecting Transformers, especially if you are collecting this movie, you are doing yourself a serious disservice if you do not have this figure. This is... I would not be surprised if he comes out as my favorite Dinobot at the end of this whole line. Just saying. He's fun. Alrighty, guys. Thanks for watching, and I will be continuing on with the Age of Extinction reviews. I'm not sure who I'm going to be doing next, but hopefully I will be able to speak in that review. Thanks for watching. See you later.